Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'll be talking about time, and I've been giving it quite a lot of thought. A long time ago I saw Bohm in an interview asking a person sincerely if he thought that bringing order into the concept of time is going to help humanity. So in my opinion, and or in the way I understand it, when it comes to Bohm, the concept of time is the mothership in which other concepts are formed. And therefore bringing some understanding and insight into it is a major thing. And as you might be aware, there is a series of discussions between David Bohm and Krishnamurti on the so-called Ending of Time is the name of the book. Yeah. But a little bit of background on time, or humanity has for a long time. It's very hard not to mention time. It's so much a part of talking and anything we express. Time is in it. Bohm says thought is almost all thought contains time. But never mind. So human beings have been occupied for a very long time with trying to measure time, not for philosophical reasons, but also for practical reasons. They've been studying the sun, the movement of the sun. They've been building stone structures to keep track of time. And I don't know if you have visited some places 5,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago. They were able to be built large stone structures where the sun illuminates a small altar one time every third year or every year for 1 hour. And so there is no reason to doubt that this has occupied humanity for a long time. Now, what Bohm says is that upon the creative act, because we need a little bit of understanding, Bohm talks about the source or the sea of energy is basically creative, it's creating something. And upon this creation we have something before the concept of time. So Bohm says that what we have is an order of succession, an order of regularity. Yeah. Some things appear with regularity, with similarity, and some things appear different or without regularity. And upon the actuality of succession, we all see that one event follows another. That doesn't mean that they are separate, but it means that we can, when we abstract it with knowledge, we have things like the 4 seasons. Summer comes before fall, fall comes before winter, or autumn, sorry. But when we apply, or when thought is trying to keep track of time, of succession, it needs a certain way of thinking, and the way we use what we use for thinking is what we call time. So this is not, I'm not able to go against science or do a summary of science. I know that in science we sometimes hear that time is the fourth dimension. I can't agree or disagree with that. But however, there is something that suggests, says Bohm, that we should look at time as something that is valid when we consider a particular order of succession. So when we are looking at something, let's say the seasons, that is something very particular. It's one thing out of the wholeness or out of the totality. And if we look at those, it's useful to bring in a concept of time, to put them in order. Not just 1, 2, 3, 4, but in much more detail. So that is the form of conclusion that time as a concept is valid when we consider a certain area. But the second conclusion is that in the psychological field, the same tendency to apply time has a little bit of value, but not very much. So the succession in the psychological field is not regular. It's contingent, as we've, through the talk, seen. The psychological field is operating arbitrarily with a series of set of reflexes. It's not as regular as we see in nature. In nature we talk about the laws of nature. It has so much regularity that the psychological field doesn't. And I mean, physics is not about psychology. It is not measurable in a regular way. And Bohm says, in fact, that time has very little meaning in the psychological field. Succession is not predictable. It's not, even if you would like for it to be a certain way, it's not going to be like that. If you want to be in a good mood, something might happen that triggers one of the reflexes and you become angry or jealous or whatever the thing is. And if we try to sort out this, what we have a little bit, so in Bohm's view, we have a creative source, and we have succession, that is what we see. We have perception of this succession, so we perceive something. The perception is a form of presentation. It's what we are able to see or what is formed in our mind. But when there is perception, there is also learning. Knowledge appears. We learn about what we perceive. That is natural. And this knowledge, where does it go? The thing is that it comes back into perception as a representation. So we have perception, but we also have knowledge represented. What happened before is presented in perception again. So, therefore, we have this problem psychologically, because if we have perception, we form an image, I am like this. So we have some kind of image about what I am, I or me, or But then when we continue to perceive, then suddenly perhaps I'm angry, or I'm jealous, or I'm irritated, or I'm nervous. So then we have two images, yes? One is that I'm peaceful, I'm content, things are the way I want. But at the same time, this new perception is in there of anger, of uncomfortable qualities of me. And what happens is this conflict then that takes place in time. I can see myself not being angry. I want to get back to the other image that I have. I want what is presented as anger, what is experienced now, I want it to be differently. I want it to be not angry. So we have this conflict going on, what was perceived before and what is perceived now. And this takes place in time. To thinking it should be possible to plan how we are supposed to be and to make it come into being in the future. But when it comes to the psychological status, what I am, is entirely contained in our own thinking. So there is not two entities, or there is not a future state that I can control. And this is, if we can sort it out to ourselves, this is the discovery that Bohm wants to bring out. That time is a concept that has a function, a purpose, when it's working within a limited area, applied to something practical. Of course, it has much more use than that. But it does not have that function when we think about ourselves or our image about ourselves. And therefore, we have to re-understand this situation. So I wanted to understand for myself what is it in time that allows for the me to operate. And we have discussed through all these chapters the state of the world. It's not very good. And Bohm suggests this is caused, or the problem or the source of all this misery is in thought. And how can thought not function properly and cause so much mess? It's because it's represented in our perception, and then we perceive the world according to how we think. And one of the way we think is, of course, that I am separate from you, I am this, I am like this. And one thing that is stopping us from coming together is this fact that I am having a conflict with myself. I have things I must sort out about myself. And this takes time, of course, practical matters and psychological matters. But if we can give it a lot of effort, that is the area that Bohm points out, that this is where the human problem is taking place. And I hope what I just said makes a little bit of sense, and that if you are interested, you can bring the parts together. Okay, thank you very much.